to Coffee and Chats, and this week I am joined by Rob Avery. Now, Rob is currently in the Back in Charge Blueprint, and we're going to be having a little chat about that in a minute, about his experiences, about why he wanted to get started, what he's been doing in the past, and then also like how is he getting on. So we're going to get onto that in a minute, but first of all, like if you are watching, please just let us know in the comments. Just say hi if you're there. Also, if you've got any questions that you would actually like to ask Rob about his experience of the Back in Charge Blueprint, just pop it in the comments and we'll be able to answer those questions, as they're coming in. So, Rob, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pass you over to you. If you can just introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you do, that'd be great.
Hi, well, thank you very much for this today. My name's Rob Avery, and I live in Billericay in Essex. I've worked in the city most of my professional career, with a few stops abroad along the way. My children are grown up now, so they're 27 and 25. And I tend to work in the city about 3 days a week at the moment, and work from home the other 2, and then the weekends are mine.
Nice. Whereabouts have you worked abroad? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did a year in Switzerland. I did some time out in the States, in Boston and New York, and about a 6-month in Oslo. Also worked outside of London, in the UK, Birmingham, Glasgow, Edinburgh. Investment management is kind of typically where I work on that side of finance, on the tech side. But most of it's been in the city, which is where I've been for the last few years.
Nice. Did you have a winter in Boston?
I did, and it wasn't quite as bad as the winter in Oslo. But
Oh, really?
That particularly year,
yeah. So that's the thing, isn't it? On the other countries that actually get proper winters, they're just more equipped to it, aren't they?
They are, and you know what? When I was in Switzerland, I was actually quite near the tram garage, and like everything sort of started at about 4 o'clock in the morning one day, and by 8 o'clock, everything was cleared. Wouldn't it be doing quite so well in London? So they're really, really geared up for it.
That's really, really good. Really, really good. Cool. So, Mike, Rob, what we're doing is we're just going to be having just a chat about, why you got started and, the Back in Charge Blueprint. And, again, thank you for coming on. So, Rob, like, why did we start talking? Like, what was going on with you, with your weight and your health?
Okay, so why did we start talking? Well, I saw a number of your posts on LinkedIn and on Facebook. A mutual friend of ours was actually in the program. I didn't know that at the time. So because he was commenting on your stuff, I saw those on my feeds. And it kind of came at about the right time, really, because I'd been not massively unhappy, with my weight, but I was kind of unhappy with what was happening on a year by year basis. And, years roll into 5 years, which actually kind of rolled into 15, where I was kind of putting on stone and a half in each year. And then over January, February, I was quite aggressively losing it, but I was finding that wasn't sustainable. I was kind of finding that I was losing the weight fine, but I wasn't keeping it off. And, as the years rolled by, I was kind of finding that it was getting harder to lose the weight, but easier to put it on. So net, I was on a very, very gradual incline. And that's kind of what I wanted to fix. And just in watching some of your content, some of your videos and having a chat with Paul, what I was really interested in was the sustainability aspect, the getting habits for a kind of, longer term approach, so that you kind of manage that consistently. So you don't have that horrible big jump to do every year, which, as I say, kind of gets harder with age.
That's it. But it's not only like, first of all, like people watching this, I think a lot of people could resonate with that, is that they do things quite aggressively when it comes to their weight loss. And it's not that it gets harder with age. It's just like, because I remember speaking to you and it's like, you already know what the outcome is going to be. Like you already know that you're going to lose the weight aggressively, but subconsciously you already know that the weight's going to be back on by the summer. And then, come Christmas, you're going to be right. Be getting that, you've got to be plucking up the courage and the motivation to start again. It's like, oh, here we go again, and it's just that cycle, isn't it? It's that cycle. So how long were you roughly in that cycle for?
About 15 years.
15 years. Quite a while, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite a while. So when you say aggressively, like what would you do? Like what types of things would you do to try to lose weight?
I limit myself to 1 meal a day, which is quite tough. And I'd kind of do that until I'd lost the weight. So, towards the beginning of those 15 years, that was comfortably done within January. Towards the end of those 15 years, we're knocking on the door of March. So it was taking longer to lose the weight that I'd gained the prior year. And that's quite a tough regime, and it isn't sustainable. So guess what happened when I stopped?
That's it. When you start to introduce to, what do you normally have? Like your evening meal, yes? Is that what it normally is?
The evening meal is something I have to have.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I could skip breakfast. I know that's a really bad choice, and learned more about that recently. But I could easily skip breakfast. I could skip lunch, but dinner was the one that I just could not skip. So I kind of waited to dinner, and I was pretty hungry. So probably not a great technique, but in the short term, it provided a result, if not in the long term.
That's it. Cool. So what effects was your weight having on you on a day-to-day basis?
So, clothes is one thing, right? You've got certain clothes you want to get into, and maybe when you're at the other end of the scale, they're a bit tough to get into. But more just a general fitness, really, general alertness as you get towards the end of that year. You just don't quite feel right, don't quite feel as in shape as you should do. And that sense that you've already touched on today, that you're heading for a mountain to climb. So you're kind of enjoying the fun summer and all the rest of it. But as you get into autumn and then into winter, you just know you're setting yourself up for a lot of horrible hard work again. And it's just that annual thing that is just something that you want to lose. So not a great feeling, really, and just something I'd like to be a bit better at.
Nice. So we had a conversation, and we found out that you was also living in Essex. That's where I'm from, and we had a few people have been in the Back in Charge blueprint as well, which was a nice surprise as well for you, because it just gave you that reassurance. Like Mike said before, that I wasn't just some charlatan coming on here and that was it, right? So, but what made you decide to, what made you feel that the Back in Charge blueprint could be the right answer for you? What was it?
So I looked at quite a few testimonials, not only a couple of people I knew, but, the sheer fact you had so many. And there was a really consistent theme in going through those, which were the things that were on my mind. So it was about sort of, habits, not something that is so incredibly hard on day one that you just know it's just going to be too tough. The fact that there's kind of incremental small changes, that really resonated with me, and how those built up over time. But the key thing that kind of everybody was saying about having a sustainable outcome, and particularly the guys that had come back sometime after they'd left the program, where they still had the benefits, they still had the wins, they'd had the habits ingrained into their life, and most importantly, they still had those results. So they were kind of maintaining a better level. And then all the fringe benefits that came with that, that they felt better mentally, they felt better able to, kind of segment things. And they particularly felt that they just had a way forward that was more successful than what they had before. And that, I think I watched about 12 of them, and that really just resonated through most of them.
That's it. That's good going, watching 12 of them, because they're not, because some of them are like 10 minutes long as well. So, fair play to you. But yeah, you're right. Like everything we do, we're not looking just to get the weight off quick.
No,
we're looking at, like you said, the key word there, sustainable. So if me and you speak at the end of the year, it's not, oh my goodness, like you're building up the courage to go and do something extreme again. It's like, yeah, I'm still in my clothes that, that I've gone out and bought because I've got smaller, and I'm feeling good and I'm feeling in control. So nice. Cool. Did you have any apprehensions?
I did. I guess my biggest apprehension was, would it, would I get on with it? Okay. I think as we talked about, I'd come out of the habit of doing any conventional exercise for a number of years. Um, you know, Great to have dog walks, great to have about an hour and a half walking a day as part of my commute. Choose to walk across the city, so that was good. But the whole sort of conventional planned exercise, gym or working from home, weights, all of that exercise type stuff. I was very, very nervous about getting back into that because I
Mm.
just wasn't sure if I'd be so successful at it, having not done it for a number of years.
Yeah, and that's it. Again, that just builds on from the 15 years of that same cycle to then the apprehension of wanting to do some exercise because it's like, oh, here we go again, sort of thing. So again, it's just that cool. So how did we overcome that? Like, what form of exercise have you done since being in the program?
Well, this is where I'd like to go back to the incremental changes because that just makes it all so much more manageable. So, I kind of started with some gentle aerobic exercise, very, very much based around fast paced walking.
Yeah.
So, really, two axes, sort of increase the duration, increase the resistance, but then also kind of moved on to getting into weights. So kind of started with the light aerobic stuff, built that up to something a bit more intense, and then in recent weeks sort of added weights into the mix. That's what I mean about incremental. I think if I'd tried to do where I am now on day one, I'm not sure I could have stuck it. But because it was a sort of a gradual increase, so you're doing this on week one, this on week two, this on week three, this on week four, this on week five. That really helped get a rhythm going and get a pattern going. And then you kind of look back from where you are. I'm on week 9 now. So you kind of look back to those early weeks and if you just had a really busy day, and you can't quite do as much on a given day, at least if you do something that's maybe what was tough 4 weeks ago, that's easy now. And that's quite nice from a reflection point of view to look back on. I think one of the many useful tips you've given me, as long as you end up net over the week, that's a great place to be. So sometimes, for example, I'm on for doing 4 hours a week at the moment in week 9. Only found 30 minutes on one day, but found an hour and a half on another day. So it kind of all nets out and works out very, very well cumulatively over the week and over the period. And it's that building blocks that I find has really, really helped me. That I keep using the word incremental. I can't think of a better one. It's those incremental steps that you can just build upon and stick to. And if you need to step slightly back on a couple of days, you can make it up by going slightly forward. It's all very manageable. I
That's
make it
it.
sound easy and obvious. I can't say it has been at points.
Well, no,
It's
like it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because it's something that you haven't, that you haven't done before. It's completely different, and it's a
it
change,
is.
isn't it? It's a change.
It is a change.
Okay.
Change
Now, if
habit.
you exactly, and if it was easy, you would already have done it. That's what it is. If it was easy, you already would have done it. The same with everyone else. Now we always get a lot of people go, I really want to lose weight, but I'm just too busy. Right? You get that. Now, what would you say to those people that are busy? Would you say that I'll let you answer that. I'll let you answer that. I'm not going to put
Yeah,
words in your
sure.
mouth.
So, like a lot of people in full-time work, I'm pretty busy. The hours are long. What I would say is look for pockets where you can overlap things. So look for maybe getting up slightly earlier, right? I mean, I get up pretty earlier, but I've been able to find another half an hour. So without doing a spoiler on some of the things that are in the program, but you have a number of start of day things that you've recommended, and I'm finding those quite valuable. But you can actually do some of them together. You can do some of the exercise and some of the water stuff and some of the vitamin stuff together, to just really make the best use of the time that you've got. And you know what? You won't get it right on day one, but you can build it up over time, and you can get better at it as things go on.
That's it. That's it. And also, I just want to go back to, like, you said that you're currently doing 4 hours a week of exercise. Okay. Now, not everyone does that. Like, when we first started the program, when we introduce exercise, we're only doing 30 minutes. That's only an hour and a
That's
half.
right. Yeah, I was just
All right.
snapshotting week
Yeah,
9.
yeah, no, that's it. That's it. So again, like, if anyone was busy and they're watching, they go, "Whoa, 4 hours!" Like, I
Yeah.
can,
That's a really good
we
point.
don't start there, do we? And also, that's optional when we get to that point as well. So don't think that it is all about exercise and doing more and doing more. Sometimes it's not. So a little bit like, I remember having a conversation with you when you first started. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And you were like, "Yeah, I want to do more," and I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
no, you're not doing more. You're not doing more, Rob. Like, stop where you are." So yeah, cool. So come on in. Let's see. Like, what have you? Oh yeah. Also, you've just got back from holiday.
I have.
Yeah. Right now, how are you feeling? Did you have a good time?
I
And
had
how
a
are you
lovely time.
feeling being
Yeah.
back?
It was a very, very chilled, relaxing trip away with friends. Yeah, all good, all good. I did put a bit of weight on holiday, but you know what? I'm fine about that because in percentage terms of what I've lost, it's fine, and I have a plan to kind of address that. And I think when we talked about that, going out enjoying the holiday was important. I think the way you put it was what you're going to remember is the fun you had, not the calorie counting. So again, this is just an example about how it's a long game and all about balance. So you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, but as long as you net out okay, then you can see the benefits. And I wasn't so sure about that at the outset. I wasn't so sure about how I'd get on with that. But I think the results have really spoken for themselves. I lost 10 kilograms at peak, so that's all good. In a couple of months, and that was beyond my expectations, if I'm honest. I think I wasn't expecting it to be that good, and I don't feel I've killed myself. I don't feel I've worked to an agonizing level. It's been challenging and it's been demanding, but it's been doable. It's been sustainable. So
And
for,
you're
for
only
the
8 weeks in.
and I'm only 8 weeks in of the 12. At that stat point. So and I have elected to do the kind of the more intense end, which, as you said, is optional, right? It depends on the individual. So very, very happy with that and where it is really, Adam.
Yeah, nice. And how do you feel coming back? Like, in the past, when you've been on holiday, like, how long would it have taken you normally to get back into action?
Somewhere between some weeks and never. Depending on the timing. So say you do a big 2-week family holiday and you put a ton of weight in on that, and it's towards the end of the summer and you're coming into autumn. That might well be a scenario where you pile a lot back on and you just think, we're on a stream, so F it. As we've talked a little bit about before, and you just don't get back into the rhythm and you don't pick it up. More optimistically, in other years, maybe after a few weeks, you slow things down a bit. But what you haven't got is the toolkit. You haven't got the habits. You haven't got the stuff that you can instantly slot back into. So, for example, I got back on Wednesday this week. Thursday morning, right back into it all, right back into the habits, and already seeing some benefit just a couple of days back.
Now, would you like from you slotting back into it? Is it because you can see the benefits of you doing the little bits of the habits and the little bits of work that we do? Is it because you can see the benefits of those and the importance of those, and you enjoy the outcome of it?
Absolutely. I mean, getting those benefits is very, very rewarding. Seeing wins it kind of spurs you on to keep going. But we've only so far talked about the physical stuff, and I think the mental stuff is actually really interesting to me, because at the outset I would have thought this was mainly about the physical, and the mental sounded a little bit ethereal to me, really. But I've actually found the mental stuff even more valuable and even more useful. And I think because of the mindset, you can actually switch it on and switch it off quite easily. So I talked about coming back from holiday and sort of jumping back into the workflow and the routine. I think it's the mental lessons that, for me, have put me in a position of being able to jump back into it rather than just the physical benefits, which are great. But if I had to pick which one's even more valuable, I think it would be the mental. And that surprised me because I wasn't expecting to find that from the outset of the program.
No one ever does.
Really?
No one ever does. Yeah, that's it. And the people that do it, because not everyone works on that part of the program, but the people that do, they're like, whoa, that's actually really powerful. It's really powerful. So, like, it's good that you're doing it and, you're seeing the benefits. And that's also one of the reasons why it's different, because it helps you get more connected to why you're doing it. And, it's not just about you losing weight. It's about everything else that weight loss then brings, more focus, more energy, more consistency, you're feeling better, the confidence is improved, all of these sorts of things, right? And the more connected you can get to the outcome, and when you start seeing those results come through, then for you it's like, yeah, well, why would I not want to get straight back into it after holiday? Right.
Have to agree with that.
Yeah, cool. So you've lost 10 kilos, you're feeling good. Now, what would you say? I'm going to ask you a question, right? And you can just answer this. What would you say to anyone that's just watching this and they want to lose weight and they're a bit like you, they've done things in the past where they've done it, they've gone all in, and then they loads of energy and then they stop. And then they're just on this constant cycle of all in and then nothing, all in, then nothing. Now, what would you say to people like that?
First thing I'd say is, why do you want to lose weight? Why are you unhappy with where you are? And what is it impacting in your wider life? That's the first thing I'd say, because I think you kind of need to answer those questions to work out how you may go about fixing it. And, I mean, I'd done a bit of that before speaking with you. You crystallized it with some ideas, and that was really, really helpful. But that's what I would say as the starting point. Do you want a longer term sustainable outcome? Do you want to stop that yo-yo dieting? Do you want to get some really good habits and really good tips that just makes it easier for you to stay on that narrow path?
Cool. Nice one. And Rob, finally, is there anything else you'd like to share before we finish today's call?
Sense of well-being, really. I mean, for me, one of the things I was really, really looking for was balance, and that's this mental and physical thing. And I'm getting that, and it's hugely, hugely positive. So that's really the last thing I'd like to share. If you're looking for sort of sustained outcomes and you're looking for balance, give this sort of thing some thought. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and I'm very, very happy with where I am so far. And I can be a little half empty sometimes in life, and I'm just really, really, really very happy with all of it, which is why I've come on today. An absolute pleasure on my part.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on. But also, you should be proud of what you're doing. Making that decision yourself to jump in and to having the confidence to try something different, to then get a different outcome instead of the same thing over and over again. So you should be proud of what you've done, Rob. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So, guys, if any of you are watching this and would like to know more about the Back in Charge Blueprint, please just send myself a message or Kerry a message. And Rob, if anyone's got any personal questions, are they cool to send you a message?
Absolutely fine. Just chat me on LinkedIn. That's absolutely fine.
Cool. And I'll put Rob's LinkedIn handle in the comments as well, so you get that as well. But again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, Rob. And I'll speak to you all very,